When you are starting with 3D printing, you might wonder, what else do I need with 3D printing? Stay tuned, it's Zachary 3D Prints. Hello, this is Zachary from Zachary 3D Prints. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to show you all the tools you need besides a 3D printer and of course a laptop. Because I didn't have all the tools when I started with 3D printing. I thought, well, I've got a 3D printer now and I don't need extra material. But I was wrong. Okay, when you are starting with 3D printing, the first thing that you need with building something like the CTC Prusa i3 MK2 3D printer, you need some Allen keys. You have them in different sizes, but the ones that you are usually getting inside of the DIY kits are the ones that you need, of course, makes sense. I also got on my Ender 3, I also got some Allen keys, I got some spatula, I got one cutter. So there are some basic things that you need when you're building your own 3D printer, if it is a kit, of course. But then if you build it, you might need some cutter to other different kind of cutter tools. Yeah, for if you're using tie wraps, I did use quite a lot of tie wraps, so then it makes sense that you also use one of those. So when you're starting with building your 3D printer, you need some Allen keys to build this 3D printer. I did receive a few with this CTC Prusa i3 MK2 DIY printer. Of course, why it's called DIY, do it yourself. So this one, it comes in a kit, so you need to have some building tools. Like the Allen keys, like I mentioned, maybe not, you need some screwdrivers. With this kit, I didn't have one, but I took one from my own toolbox. Besides the Allen keys and the screwdrivers and some tools to cut some tie wraps, it's very handy to have. There are some models that are pretty easy to assemble and don't have any problems, like I did when I was building this one in something like 8 hours because of some very unclear manuals. Thank you. So for that reason, it took me longer than I wanted. However, the Ender 3 Pro, it is a very nice kit. Also like the CTC 3D printer, it was also coming in a kit, but this one I built in just in half an hour. And that is pretty normal. Maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but I think I did 1 hour, just 30 minutes to build it. Nothing was pre-assembled, but the things were so easy to assemble. A quick building manual, the right tools, and a pair of handy hands. These hands are also handy, but they are not doing much. Those two hands were made on the Ender 3 Pro. Very good quality, very nice. Okay, in my case, like you saw in a video, I added a mirror on my 3D printer or 3D printers, and then you need to have some clamps. I did try it one time with some tape, but it's not really recommended because of the heat. It can happen that it is going to get loose and then your plate is going to move and then your print is going to fail big time. I had it one time, not with the glass plate but or the mirror, but I had it with another building project I was doing and it messed up really bad. I believe that it was from that one that I was doing. So I recommend to buy those dovetail clips. They're very handy. These are the ones that I could buy because these were the smallest, the biggest I could get. Well, you get bigger ones, but they were much too big for my purpose. So these are pretty small, but they will do the job pretty good. When you're having a building plate to 3D print your models on, then these are good. Don't put them like this on your building plate because it will mess up your nozzle, it will mess up your 3D prints, and that you don't want to have. So turn them backwards. So then your 3D printing is almost going to start. When having bad adhesion, you can use some painter's tape, the blue ones like you maybe already saw in some other 3D print videos. I tried to use this. This is a glue stick from Prit. You can buy it in the Netherlands, but I believe that you're having also these kind of things in other countries. Different brands, different kind of color, but they will do the job. For me, it didn't work out that well. I bought a build tech build plate. It is not sticky, but for 3D printing, it does work pretty well. Then, of course, you get when the 3D printing is done, you need to get it off, and there you use this spatula for. Be careful because the edges are very sharp, and I know that there is always a battle between the 3D print and the builder. Why? It can happen that the building plate is not working well, that the 3D printed object doesn't come off. Always try to use some of the points underneath the skirt or the brim that's around it, like you see by this one. You can just put something, the point underneath it, and then try to remove it. In the situation of the mirror, because the material, the mirror was cooling down, the 3D print came off. That was nice to hear. I thought already that the glass plate or the mirror was breaking. So I thought, oh hell, what is going to happen? Nothing spectacular, but the only thing that happened was that the 3D model came loose. Then, I had to mention it before, but I started with the 3D printing removal. So the spatula. When you're using a standalone 3D printer, what does it mean? I will explain right away. When you're having Cura or Prusa Slicer 2.0 and you sliced your 3D model, you need to save it as a G-code and then send it directly to your 3D printer over a USB cable, which I don't have here at this moment, but it's a USB cable. I don't have to show it to you because every 3D printer comes with a USB cable. With the CTC I had one, and also with the Ender 3 Pro I also did receive a USB cable. But if you are not using a USB cable, then you are using the SD card. The SD card from this one, but also from the Ender 3 Pro that I have, is using a micro SD card. So you need to have an adapter, an SD adapter or a other different kind of connector adapter. I don't know how this one is called, but it doesn't matter. If you using a micro SD card, you need to have an adapter to put it in your laptop, not in your 3D printer. So now we are going back to post 3D printing. So when you use your spatula, it sounds still crazy, then you can use some tools, some cutting tools to get all rid of your support. This is one of my first 3D prints. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. Gameplay you can find on Zachary PS Gaming. Yes, I also have a gaming channel on my PlayStation, so I weekly upload 1 or 2 videos of the gameplay of Horizon Zero Dawn. Check that channel out and subscribe if you also like gaming. But one rule in 3D printing: you cannot print in air. Like you see in this model, I didn't continue with cutting the supports away. What do you see when you're checking out this model? This point is way further away than this point. I will show it here. So you see that something needs to be there to be printed. So there you are going to get some support. In some other videos I'm going to show you exactly which kind of settings you need to do to take for getting as much as perfect support for your 3D models. Sometimes you print something like a cube and you don't need to have any support. But if you are going to print like those hands, or this cute little doggy, or this tall neck, you have the problem that you need some support. Maybe less, maybe a lot. Depends on your model, of course. But in case of overhangs, you need to have decent support. So that means that when these support need to be removed, you need some tools. Some dry tools, if I would call it, are like the cutter tools. These ones I used quite a lot for my first 3D prints, but I can tell you it's not working. For the bigger parts, yes, but for the smaller parts, use a very thin electrical cutter. I still don't know what really the name is from besides cutter. I will put it in a video if I know the exact word for these kind of tools. But this one I use quite a lot. It's very sharp. You use it normally for cutting cables for, I think, LAN cables, you cut it. So these are very nice to have. Always when you're 3D printing, try to get as good as possible supports, but then also think about it to get them removed as easy as possible. So when every support is cut away, then the one thing that you need are some files. I've got some very thin files that you can use when you're done with 3D printing, and there are some lines left. Then you can use the file and then file it away. That is very easy to do, but it costs a lot of time and work. But then if you're done with it, you get some nice things. If you are having some multiple part 3D print models, what can you expect? So what can you expect? This is a thunder jar from, of course, the same game as this little guy. Officially, this one is not that big, and this one is the biggest machine. Of course, from the machines that I know from the first Horizon Zero Dawn game. This is a thunder jar that exists, or that is not only in one part. I had to glue it. There are some glues that you can use. One that I did try was some hot glue, but then the thing was that it was not sticky enough to glue parts together. It came loose, it broke, and it's not helping a lot. So I used some fast glue or some power glue. These are very handy, but use it wisely. I got my hands all over with glue some days. This one I cannot use anymore because the cover is a little bit off. But then you get some models like this. Question: how many parts of this model are separated? Well, meaning, how many parts did I print to print this 3D print? Because this is a machine or a 3D model that is something like 50 centimeters long, something like 30 centimeters high, and well, 20 centimeters wide. It's a big machine. I have to confess, when I was gluing the legs to the middle body, I didn't expect that when I completed this thunder jar, that it will be standing like this. I thought I have to put something underneath it to keep it as it is now. So I was quite surprised that it worked. So what did I do? I will show you now in the video, in a short video, how much detail this thunder jar has and which kind of tools that I could use, because originally when I was doing this model, when I was working on this 3D model with my cutter tools, with my files, with my glue, I didn't expect that I was starting a 3D Prints YouTube channel. So I will, for this channel, do this one more time again. Maybe this one, maybe another one, I don't know. But this channel is about you, how you can learn to use a 3D printer, post-process it, glue it, maybe also paint it, because 3D printed models can also be painted, but you have to post-process it to start with painting of the 3D models. This one has a lot of extra hidden corners, things that you cannot reach that easy. This head of the thunder jar was very difficult to post-process, because a lot of edges, a lot of corners, a lot of things that I need to take care of, and also with caution, because some parts are very thin and can break very easily. So this one was a first one that I tried on my Ender 3 Pro. This was all printed not on that one, but on my other 3D printer. I had to test it, and it looks fabulous. You don't see you don't see some things that are wrong or are not cut pretty nice or didn't print pretty nice. But I learned using 3D printers 2 years ago, and this one was laying around for maybe a year. So I hope you will not do the same thing as I did. 3D printing is fun, but it also is time consuming when you are having a thing for 3D printing very nice models on a 3D printer and then post-process it afterwards. It's getting messy, I know, but what you get is a very nice result like this one. So that being said, these are the tools that you need when building your 3D printer, when putting a slice of software on your 3D printer, when you are also, I didn't mention, a caliper. You need also something like this. It sounds not so important, but if you are using a 3D printer, you need to make sure that everything you print is the right size. That being said, thanks for watching. This was Zachary 3D Prints of this week. More videos are coming, so, and I hope to encourage you to start with 3D printing. It's a lot of fun. And hey, that being said, happy 3D printing and stay tuned. Bye bye.